What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Redriveraviation. Hope you guys had a fantastic day today. And today we have massive unboxing number 22 for you guys, the retro massive unboxing. I thoroughly hope you guys are excited for today's video. We have a very special massive unboxing in store for you guys today, and I am super excited to get into this. I hope you guys are as well, and without any further delay, let's get started. Alrighty, everybody, welcome to massive unboxing number 22 for you guys, the retro massive unboxing. I thoroughly hope you guys are excited for today's video, as today we're really going to be changing gears, as this massive unboxing is all retro models. I thoroughly hope you guys are excited for today's video, as today we're really going to be changing up, and especially for my retro viewers, I really hope you guys are excited for today's video. So in this massive unboxing, we're going to be doing all retro models. Really excited for this, as this is going to be so much fun to finally dive into a whole new sector of model aircraft collecting. This is going to be so much fun. So as you guys may or may not know, I'm currently embarking on a retro Tulsa model airport project, and I've been acquiring assets over the last several months for this project, and I thought it would be really fun to make just a full retro massive unboxing to really change the gears, and it's so exciting to finally tune it back, crank it back if you will, back to these early ages. We have quite a few models from the 2000s, but we also have some from the 90s, 80s, and even back to the 70s, and even a couple from the 60s, I believe. I thoroughly hope you guys are excited for today's video, and you guys already know the drill, so just want to kind of get that out of the way. So what I'm going to be doing through this video is, while I get every model out, I'm going to be talking about its purpose at Tulsa and kind of the era and everything, to kind of explain why I got this aircraft. So, because usually that's what I do with all my models, but in this case it's a lot different because most of these models already have served their time. There's a couple of them that still may be flying, but for the most part all these have served their time. So let's get started right here. I believe this was the very first one I got recently, and I'm really excited for this. I think I got this all the way back in May, but I got a really good deal on it if I believe it is what I think it is. Oh yeah, baby. Here we go, boys. There it is. Very excited for this right here. Let me get the bubble wrap off, and as you guys can see, we have the Gemini Jets 1:400 scale TWA McDonnell DC-9 in the final livery by Gemini Jets 2. Here we go. Alrighty, everybody, so here we go with the TWA DC-9 in the final livery. Super excited to finally have this model, and this is going to be critical for the retro Tulsa model airport project, as this aircraft flew in the 90s. From the latter portion on the back half of TWA's career, they flew the MD-80 DC-910 DC-930s to Tulsa on that back 90s half, and this is a perfect model. Got a really good deal on it. I think got it for like $40. So super excited for this, and let's get started with the box. You have the typical kind of that cinematic box design that Gemini did with Gemini Jets 2, so really cool box, limited edition, die-cast scale. Here's a small CGI of the model TWA McDonnell DC-9 made for collectors by collectors. Got the Gemini Jets 2 and all those fun items. But yes, TWA had a really nice era at Tulsa International Airport. They mainly flew to St. Louis, but they also flew to the likes of New York in the 80s, which is really cool. So here's the back of the box as well with all those specifications, and man, I'm really excited. This is actually my very first doubles DC-9, which I'm really excited to finally get this in the house, if you will. Really excited to finally get this on property, and man, this is looking good. Here's all the specifications, and there is the TWA doubles DC-9 in the final livery. Let's get this retro era started. Been really excited for this, and here she is, everybody, my very first DC-9, and what a special moment with the final livery for TWA. Oh yeah. Here we go, boys. Yes, take a look at that. That is awesome. Let's get it. Let's take a look at this. My goodness. And man, what a way to start the retro Tulsa model airport project in this retro massive unboxing with this TWA final livery doubles DC-930. This thing is awesome. Man, this is going to be looking so good at gate. I think they parked at like 53, but nevertheless, really excited for this, and we'll talk about that more in detail. But let's get started with this aircraft, as man, this thing is a unit. Alrighty, everybody, let's get started. So you have the cockpit windows right here and the nice panel right there looking really good. Then you got the nose landing gear as well. You got the L1 boarding door, and then the beautiful Trans World titles right there, along with the globe right here, the classic final livery from TWA. We got the 757 a couple months ago, so really excited. They also flew the 717 briefly to Tulsa as well, so definitely considering that one as well. Here's the red stripe, of course, going across the kind of the bottom portion of the fuselage here. And then you got the emergency exits right here as well, and the emergency escape pad as well. Already got the speed brakes, flaps, and slats right there as well on the leading edge of the wing, and then some really nice main landing gear as well. They look very clean, so very nice job right there. Registration of this aircraft is November 989 Zulu. Quite a unique tail number, but very cool one. And these are the Pratt & Whitney PW-JT8D 7Bs, slightly different from the MD-80 variants. And here is the beautiful TWA titles right here on the tail, and then the beautiful colors of the TWA livery with the horizontal stabilizers. Man, so excited to finally have a DC-9. Expect many more more of these to come, as TWA flew these. I think Ozark flew these. Delta flew these. So many airlines. So really excited to get more of these, and these are very clean, as you can see. Here is the top of the aircraft looking really good, and then the bottom also looking really nice with the Gemini Jets logo and all, and then the back rear patch right there as well. Man, what a way to kick off the retro model airport project for Tulsa. So man, what a beautiful aircraft this is. Again, this flew in the late 90s into 2001 when American Airlines merged with TWA, so definitely expect this. This will be a very helpful asset. I've also ordered a couple more TWA aircraft, so expect those in upcoming unboxings as well. But what a way to kick off TWA era in the retro model airport, the Tulsa retro model airport project, off to a very hot start with this aircraft. What a facility, very nice. Alrighty, next up we have a really good deal on this aircraft. So I initially was not anticipating on getting this aircraft, but I ended up getting it as a backup for another aircraft that we ended up getting in this video, so you guys are more welcome to start taking your guesses. But this will still be a very helpful asset for Tulsa and also Dallas too. So this is a really cool aircraft as well. It's my first one in this livery somehow, which is just crazy to think about. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Delta Shuttle Boeing 737-800 by Dragon Wing. So I actually ended up getting this for the 737-200. That will be the next aircraft we unbox. And I did choose to get this just in case I wasn't able to get that 200 because those are kind of hard to find. But this is actually a full Delta 737-800 with custom Delta titles, so the shuttle actually got removed. So this is looking really good, and let's take a look at this. So Boeing 737-823 Delta Shuttle right here, 1-4-inch TL Premier Collection. Then you got the aircraft right here on the front as well. And then you got the sides of the box, which are looking very applicable, and also the special decal too, probably to signify that Delta title. But I ended up getting this for like $23 total. It was like 15 on eBay, and I was like, this is a perfect backup opportunity if I need it, and I'll be able to use it for some other projects as well. So I thought this was a perfect storm. And let's take a look at this stunning aircraft. Let's see. And yes, looking very nice. Sweet. So of course you get the stand right here, as you guys may know with some of these Dragon Wings aircraft, and then of course the landing gear are actually retractable, and you can put them in the gear up configuration, which is pretty cool. But here is the Delta 737-800 looking very clean. Yes sir, very nice, sweet. That's really clean. And ladies and gentlemen, here is the Dragon Wings 1-400 scale Delta Airlines Boeing 737-800 without winglets in the colors and motion livery with the normal Delta title. Super excited to have this. What an awesome deal. And while this isn't the best quality model in the world, it still looks really nice. So let's dive into the details and see what it's all about. Alrighty, so beginning up here, you have the cockpit windows and some panels as well. Then the nose just looking nice and clean. And then, yes, this is actually my very first Delta's colors and motion aircraft, which is really cool. So you have the nose landing gear, and then here starts the silver underbelly, which looks so cool. L1 boarding door, and then here is the Delta titles as well. Very applicable for the time, if you will, looking very nice. And here's where the first class would be, of course, in economy plus into economy. Here's the beautiful engine stripe on the colors and motion aircraft. Personally, I think that turned out really well, so good job right there by Dragon Wings. And here's the middle portion of the aircraft going into the aft portion, very clean. And the registration November 384, something like that, Delta Alpha, I can't quite see it, so looking really nice right there. 394 maybe, looking good. And here is the beautiful colors and motion tell. I love it, from the light blue to the darker blue to the red, looking super nice, and really nice job by Dragon Wings for encompassing those details. Here's the back portion as well. You got all your applicable details there, and then some luggage doors as well. For the top portion of the aircraft, as you guys can see, we have some really nice detail with the emergency exit pads and everything. And then on the bottom, also really nice. Not too many details. You got the stand hole as well, but that is all the more you need from Dragon Wings. And a really good job by Dragon Wings here. This is actually a really nice job. I don't know exactly how the Delta titles were done, but nevertheless, they turned out super nice. Maybe it was like a factory difference or something. So ultimately, a very cool model to say the least. And there goes the tire, but I'll put it right back on. But yeah, super glad to have this. This is a really nice model, and the intent with this model was to be a substitution for the Delta 737-200, which is a very critical asset to Tulsa, as we'll talk about, as that flew for years to Tulsa. But this was a backup plan just in case I couldn't get it, because it is kind of hard to find, and these flew Tulsa every now and then. So nevertheless, into our next model, and I already kind of spoiled it, so let's dive into it. Alrighty everybody, next up right here, as you guys can see, we're going to be diving into the Delta 737-200, which was a very applicable aircraft in Tulsa history. They flew these very consistently all the way back from the mid-80s to the 2000s, and I actually didn't finish the knife there, so I apologize, too excited. But this aircraft actually ended up coming in from Japan, and I think I got it for like $50, so it was a really good deal. And yeah, it was kind of crazy to see, but they had good reviews and everything, so let's see what we got going here. And we got a note here on the top. And yeah, very nice to get to see that right there. A really nice note. And let's dive into the package right here. Oh yes, baby. There it is. Sweet. Haha, there it is right there, everybody. Right here we have the Delta Airlines Boeing 737-200 with the Express title. Super happy to have this aircraft, as like I said, these were a workhorse at the Tulsa International Airport from the 80s all the way up until about 2005 when these aircraft got retired, I believe in the middle of the year. Really excited to finally have this aircraft. Again, these flew a ton, especially in the colors and motion livery on that back half stretch. These were all that you would see from Atlanta, and this is going to be a very critical asset for the Tulsa International Airport retro project. So here we go with the box. You got that cinematic theme once again. This is just a normal Gemini though, limited edition diecast model right here. Here's the aircraft. It has the Express titles in the middle. I'm not too big on that. It was just the normal Delta titles, what mainly flew here, but it's all good. Got the Delta titles right here, Boeing 737-200, and then again, looking really clean. So this is a really nice model right here. I'm very excited to finally have this, and yeah, it actually came really quick. It came with like within a week from Japan, which was really cool. Again, made in China. This is a 2002 release, so definitely one of the older aircraft that Gemini has produced. There is the pamphlet, and holy crap, that box has seen better days. Take a look at how much fading has happened to that plastic cradle, but what matters is on the inside. But man, that is by far, that is literally orange. That is crazy. It'll be interesting to see how much more that tans out, but man, just even looking at it in the shade, it is super tan. So let's get this thing out and see what it's all about here. My goodness, just take a look at that cradle. I've never seen anything like that, but oh, it even creeped into the bottom part. My goodness, wow. Tell me if you've ever seen that, anybody. That is crazy. But right here, everybody, there it is, the Delta 737-200 in the colors and motion livery. Wow. And right here, everybody, we have the Gemini Jets 1-400 scale Delta Airlines Boeing 737-200 in the colors and motion livery with the Express titles. Very excited to have this aircraft, as this was a huge part of Tulsa International Airport history. This aircraft came in from Atlanta like 4 times a day for like 20 years, so really glad to have this. And they did do some rotation throughout that, of course, with other airplanes. But the 737-200 was a huge part of it, especially in this livery, the colors and motion livery. What an applicable aircraft to have, and this is going to be very critical for the Retro Tulsa project. Let's dive into the details. Alrighty, so beginning up here, you have the cockpit windows and the panels up here looking really good. A really nice looking nose cone, the nose landing gear door, along with the nose landing gear. You got the SkyTeam logo in the L1 boarding door with the very small Delta titles, but of course the Express titles really make up this aircraft, because that's kind of what it was. There was a ton of very interesting subsidiary brands throughout the 2000s, and this was one of them for Delta, which was quite unique. And that says like fly something.com, I can't quite see it, but looking good. You got the silver underbelly, of course, and kind of similar to the colors and motion livery. Really nice detail here by Gemini. That really cool thruster burster 737-200 engines looking really cool on this aircraft. And of course, you got the full economy. I don't know if they had any first class on Express or not, but looking really cool. November 323 Delta Lima, the L2 door, and the beautiful colors and motion tail. Just take a look at that. You can, in real life, the colors are so rich, but on the camera, it's just not quite the same. But man, that is so clean. Just take a look at that. On the other side of the aircraft, this would be the right side. You can see you got the titles as well, the luggage doors, and just everything that one could want. What a cute little aircraft. And again, these were workhorses. These are pretty much what the 717 was today at the Tulsa International Airport. They flew these for years to Atlanta 4 times a day usually, but man, they lived it up with this aircraft. So glad to have it. The top looking good, and the bottom has your Gemini logo and the stand hole. What a unit this is. Going to be very helpful for that Atlanta service. I'm really excited to put that into action. Great job by Gemini back in 2002. Well done. Very nice. Alrighty, everybody, next up we have a very critical asset for Tulsa. This flew here for about 20 years as well, from the 90s all the way up until about 2010. This is another very critical aircraft for an airline that I don't have many models of. In fact, this might be my very first aircraft for this airline. I could be wrong on that, but I think it might be. I'm trying to remember. I think this legitimately is my first aircraft for this airline. Let's dive in and take a look at it. And coming into the viewfinder, as you guys can see right here, with no box, we have the Continental Boeing 737-500. Very critical asset right here. I did buy it with no box, but it was like, I think like $40. It was another fantastic deal, and I've got a lot of really good deals, so just feeling very fortunate about that. But yes, the Continental Airlines Boeing 737-500 was a huge asset on the Houston Air Continental service for 20 years in this exact same livery, so you're definitely going to be finding this probably from the early 90s all the way up until 2010 when they stopped using it. Really excited to get into this aircraft. This is a really cool one for the fleet, a very helpful asset, and it's going to be really good, as you guys are going to see, probably in about a dozen updates or so for the Retro Tulsa project. Going to be very helpful, so let's dive into it. Alrighty, so beginning up here on the front, you have the cockpit windows right here, and as you guys know, we've done a lot of reviews on the Continental Globe livery for United, so it's pretty much just the same. So you have the line right here, and then the kind of grayish underbelly, if you will. Then instead, you have the SkyTeam logo right here, which was quite neat to see Continental in that alliance. I think they did really good right there. You got the L1 door, and then the logo right here. Not exactly sure what it is, but it's looking really good. And then right here, you have the Continental billboard titles, which turned out really nice. Just so weird to see Continental on here, but man, it's such a vibe. Love to see it. You got the CFM56 engine right there, I believe that is, so looking good. And then as well, you got the emergency exit right there, just one on the Dash 500 variant. And here's the leading edge of the wing, very unique, looking very clean, possibly a little bit of indentation there, but not a huge deal. That could just be how the mold is, so looking good there. Or not indentation, but just a little flattened out, if you will. And then as you guys can see right there, we got the back with the registration, November 14665, I believe. And then you got the United States flag, the L2 boarding door, in the beautiful Continental Globe. So weird to see it on Continental Airlines, but man, you love to see it. And I'm really glad to have this aircraft. Again, a very critical asset as they flew these to Houston Intercontinental up to 4 or 5 times a day. So this is going to be a very helpful airplane for the fleet, and a really cool one, just like the 737-200 that we just assessed. Really excited to get this aircraft, a very unique one at that, and this is such a cool model. Really glad to have this. It does suck that there is no box, but man, it's all worth it to have the aircraft. That's what we're all about. Very nice right there, and very glad to have it. Well done, very nice. Alrighty, so here's another very unique aircraft. We had United Airlines Boeing 737-300 in the shuttle livery. Ended up getting a really fair deal on this, so I did decide to go for it just for the variety. So looking really good right here, and ended up helping out. So very glad to have this. Just take a look at the box here, looking very clean right here from Dragon Wings, of course. Here's the back, as Dragon Wings did so many retro models. But yeah, United had a really cool shuttle brand in the early 2000s, so definitely glad to have this, and this will be a very unique asset. So as we get into the box, here is the model. And here's the United Shuttle Boeing 737-300 right here by Dragon Wings. Really good looking model. Very glad to have this. A very unique piece, and I'm really glad to be able to use this. So let's dive into details. So beginning up here in the front, you got the cockpit windows in the Star Alliance logo. You got the L1 boarding door, and the nose landing gear tires are missing, but it's all good, looking very nice. Now, I don't know if there was a first class on this one or not. I honestly don't know, but this is where it would be if they did, but probably economy throughout here for the most part, looking really good. You got the CFM56 engine. Once again, if I am getting that wrong, I apologize. You got the shuttle by United. Again, very unique advertising strategy by United, but hey, it did save a little bit of paint on the Battleship Gray livery. So, by the way, this is not the only 737-300 in the unboxing for any airlines. Definitely stay on the lookout for that. You got the wings here, which definitely quite a bit of wing flex, but you can't complain. It seems like this is the same as Aero Classics pretty much, so I don't know if they had any mutual sharement there, but pretty interesting. Tail number was November 358 Uniform Alpha in the beautiful Battleship Gray tail, looking very clean. I mean, just awesome model overall, very nice. You can definitely see that wing flex at its finest right there. Yeah, man, wow, that came out to be quite a lot of wing flex. I wonder why. That's interesting for sure. But yeah, still very glad to have this. This is a really cool model. And here is the top of the aircraft, and here is the bottom. So yeah, United flew the Boeing 737 quite a bit in the early 2000s and also the early 90s. It was really hit or miss on the schedule, so some days it would come, others it wouldn't. Got another United 737-300 to stay on the lookout for that, and also the Battleship Gray one that we unboxed previously as well. So very helpful asset to say the least, but looking really nice right there, very nice. Alrighty, next up we have another really round of very helpful aircraft. I've been trying to get some of these for quite some time and have been unsuccessful just because of how rare they are, but luckily a brand new exclusive is going to really help me out here, as you guys may be able to already get some hints there. Let's dive into this and see what we got going. And right here, everybody, we have the two Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-300s exclusives by Panda. Really excited to have these, and these are going to be very helpful assets. So, Waffle Collectibles teamed up with Panda models for 3 exclusive Southwest Airlines 737-300s, one in the desert livery, one in the infamous silver one livery, and also one in the California one livery. If you guys recall, I did end up getting the Canyon Blue California one, so I did decide to pass on that one, but I did get the other two, and I was very hesitant, especially on the silver one, but I really wanted it, as we'll talk about here in a minute. But let's start with the desert livery. So definitely been looking for another desert aircraft for quite some time, as you guys may know, because I've been trying to acquire more of them for the Retro Tulsa Model Airport project, and these are very helpful as they flew all the time to Tulsa. I was really looking for a Dash 500 too, and I haven't found one of those yet, but the Dash 300 will be very helpful in the desert livery, and this really will put a solidification here on my Retro Southwest fleet for at least now. And they flew these all the time from as soon as they got them, like in the late 80s all the way up until 2017, but this livery made it to like 2011 or so, somewhere like that. So let's get started with the box. So your typical Panda box right here with the Boeing, and then of course you have the stickers right here is the big distinguisher on these Panda boxes. But it doesn't matter what's on the box, in my opinion. We can work with what's inside, and there's the back of the box as well, indicating that Boeing 737 as well. Alrighty, let's get in here and see what this thing is all about. Oh yeah, baby, very clean right there. Definitely an interesting color. I think that it's pretty acceptable. It reminds me a lot of what they did on that 737-700 that was done with Prairie diecast, that is. But there she is. And ladies and gentlemen, here's the Panda models 1 to 400 scale Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-300 in the desert livery. Very excited to have this aircraft. It was a very critical part of Tulsa for such a long time. These flew, like I said, from probably 1989 2011. So this will be in plenty of updates. Definitely expect it, probably in every single update, because this is just a backbone right here. And what a critical asset this is. Let's dive into this. Alrighty, so beginning right here, you have the cockpit windows and the really cool piece right here to keep the heat down. Very, very nice to see that right there. Got some pitot tubes right there, and then the nose landing gear door along with the nose landing gear as well. Looking very clean, very nice. Got the L1 boarding door right here in the heart that significates the desert livery. Southwest Airlines' very first livery, of course, which is really cool. And of course, Southwest Airlines has been very consistent with their all-economy product, which is what you're going to find in here. And then you got the antenna right here as well. The CFM56, I believe this is, looking very clean. We have had a lot of 737s so far. This is number 5 and number 6. Quite impressive right there. And then, of course, you got the emergency exit right here as well, the patch that is too. And then, of course, you got the no wing flex. How about that, finally? Along with the main landing gear as well, and one antenna back there, not 2 on the 737-300. So good job there by Panda doing that. And then, of course, you got the back portion of the economy as well, which is very helpful. And the registration November 654 Sierra Whiskey, which is really nice. The Southwest Airlines Desert Tail, and also the horizontal stabilizers as well. Really, really good job by Panda. They did a very good job developing this aircraft. It turned out really good, especially no wing flex. That's really helpful. I do have a couple of aircraft for Panda on the 737-300 Classics, particularly the Thai Airways ones. Well, I guess technically speaking, that's miniature models, but in terms of the mold, I do have a couple of these. But this one turned out really well, and I'm very excited to have this for the Retro Tulsa project. Again, expect this in probably like 3 dozen updates or so. It will be there all the way from the 80s up until 2011 or so. So this is going to be a very critical asset, and I'm really glad to have it. Great job by Panda Models. They did a fantastic job. And now on to another really awesome aircraft. And ladies and gentlemen, here we go with the silver one Boeing 737-300. So I was really on the fence about this aircraft just because of how long it was able to fly and everything. But this is a very unique aircraft for the 400 scale, as we've not really had a bare metal aircraft completed like this for an airline like this. I mean, we have had some, but just as iconic as the silver one for Southwest, we really haven't had too much. So I thought it would be only right to get this aircraft and just to add one final special to my Southwest retro fleet, as I'm not anticipating getting many more, as I technically have the Maryland one, the California one, and now the silver one. I might try to get a New Mexico one or something at some point, but this will be very applicable, and I'm really excited to see how Panda did on this. This is going to be fire. I'm really glad I chose to get this, and this is going to be awesome. Let's see if it was worth it, boys. Let's get in here and see what we have going with this bare metal aluminum fuselage. Oh, very neat. Nice. And ladies and gentlemen, we have the Panda models 1 to 400 scale Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-300 in the Silver 1 livery. Wow. What an aircraft this is. Definitely worth it. What a unique aircraft. Take a look at that fuselage, my goodness, especially that registration. That really pops. Very cool job by Panda. Let's dive into this. Alrighty, so beginning up here at the front, you got the cockpit windows right here along with the silver one titles. Just so cool. Look at that fuselage. Here's the table you can see right here in the back portion of the walls. Wow, that's so cool right there. L1 boarding door, and then slowly moving this up. You got the economy right here. Ignore all the scratches. You can't really do too much with such a bare fuselage, but it looks so cool. And this is what the actual aircraft would have looked like too, so that's definitely applicable. Here's the engines as well. Just so cool to get to see that right there. That's so unique. Wow. Take a look at that. Very neat. And then there's the full reflection too. Wow. That's crazy. You got the emergency exit right there as well, and no wing flex on this one either, so yay. And then you got the emergency exit patch there as well, and you see the wing off of that. That's just so cool right there, man. That's so cool. You got the registration right there as well, which is 625, I believe. Sierra Whiskey. Oh my gosh, I can't talk today. And the beautiful Southwest Airlines tail, which really weird. I kind of wish they would have did it full silver just to see what it looked like, but hey, this is really cool, man. Just take a look at this. Wow. All that detail, and it's just, man, the chrome fuselage is so different. Oh, the white line's so cool across the aft portion right here too. I didn't even see that. That's really cool. Nice job, Jim, or Panda, excuse me. And then here's the top of the aircraft. Just so cool to see a bare metal plane like this, man, and especially the bottom with those 2 white lines there in the back and the luggage doors and everything. Just so cool to get to see this. Definitely worth it. And this will be a really cool appearance at the Retro Tulsa Airport. Again, I think this went into service like in the early 90s and ended up retiring in the late 2000s. So definitely plenty of updates to come out of this too. What a unique aircraft. Very glad to have it, and it will be an absolute unit for years to come. But yeah, to clarify, Southwest Airlines started flying in Tulsa in 1981 and is still flying here to this day. They just celebrated 40 years ago last year at Tulsa, which is really cool. But they've flown to multiple destinations, mainly the ones they currently have. They did previously serve Kansas City, but are now also serving Midway and Austin to complement that. So really cool. And Denver got it in like 2008. So that's kind of the big lineup. So very nice for Southwest. They'll be very helpful at the airport, of course. Next in line right here, we have a really cool box from the Midwest Model Store. Highly recommend checking them out. They do a really good job. And this is one of the newer releases, actually, which I'm very excited to get into. And by the way, I opened the box to simulate something for upcoming videos, so that is why that was going there. But right here, everybody, we have the Gemini Jets 1-to-400 scale Frontier Convair CV580 in their whatever this livery is called. I don't even know what it's called. But really glad to have this aircraft. This is a really cool one, and these actually flew to Tulsa quite a while. They flew in the 60s and 70s from cities like Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Wichita, not quite Denver, but Oklahoma City, all the nearby airports. So if you don't know, Frontier had a really cool establishment of these Convair 580s, and what these did was these flew around the areas of kind of the southern regions for Frontier, and they were really profitable on that, so that was really cool. And they did it quite a bit at Tulsa, so really glad to have this aircraft. Frontier even flew to Stillwater at a time, and I think my grandfather actually got to fly a flight with them on one of these beautiful aircraft right here. So how times have changed, to say the least, but man, really cool aircraft right here, and let's dive into those details. Gemini Jets made for collectors by collectors. A really cool picture right here. Credit to Bob Ponzinski at Albuquerque in June of 1989. So these actually made it or 69. Okay, I was gonna say 89. What? But 69. This seems about right. A really good picture right here. This came out very clean. Convair CV580 Frontier, and you got the titles and everything. This is my very first Frontier Convair, which is really cool. My very first Convair in general. So I'm really excited for this. This will be a very helpful aircraft again for Tulsa. Have no idea where they park nor when I'll make it to the era, but nevertheless, when I do, I am ready for it with this Frontier Convair, and it'll be very helpful. I do have a couple American Chrome planes that are also ready for it. But yeah, really throwing it back. First very, very retro aircraft. And let's see what the Frontier Convair is all about, because again, this is a very popular aircraft in the United States, and I'm glad to see that Gemini chose to do this aircraft. So let's take a look. Very clean right there. And also here is the pamphlet for the aircraft too. And yeah, most certainly a little guy. It reminds me a lot of a Saab 340 or an ATR. That is the most ideal comparison, but these were very common back in the day. And man, wow, just the design in general is already throwing it back. Take a look at that Frontier Convair, everybody. Alrighty, everybody, and here's the Gemini Jets 1-to-400 scale Frontier Airlines Convair CV580. What a unique aircraft this is. Frontier's had quite an interesting history and very interesting with these Convairs, but man, really excited to have my very first one. This is a really cool aircraft for the collection. Very excited to have this, and again, they flew these out of Tulsa to like cities like Wichita, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, I think maybe like Ardmore or something, McCauley or something like that. But a really cool aircraft right here, and a very nice one to say the least. So let's dive into those details. Alrighty, so beginning right here on the front, you got the cockpit windows right here, and then you got the blue stripe going back. I'm not exactly sure what this says, but it looks really nice. You got the nose landing gear too, which looks pretty solid here on the Convair. It's kind of hard to replicate, so good job right there. And you got the really cool engine right here is the first thing that stands out. So take a look how big that fan blade is. I don't know if it's proportionally that big, but very nice right there. And then you got the cowling for it too, which is very impressive. And then here's the middle part of the fuselage. So of course you got the door right here, and then the windows don't start till back here. I think these seated probably around 20 to 30. Could be completely wrong on that, but these were really helpful to make small hops like Tulsa to Wichita and things like that. So very nice. Here's the main landing gear as well. Very cool. I really like the design of those. Those are really nice. Here's the top part of the wing as well with some flaps and slats and all those fun items. Looking really cool. And the emergency exit pad also making an appearance here on the Convair. Very nice. Speaking of which, you got some emergency exit doors right there, or I think that's what that is. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. If not, I apologize, but I think there's emergency exit somewhere here in the middle. You got the Frontier billboard titles, really unique for the time, of course. And it stretches all the way back to the L2 door right here, and one more window there in the back. And the really unique tail design kind of reminds me of a TriStar, which is very interesting. But you got the old Frontier logo and the titles right there too, and the horizontal stabilizers. What a unique aircraft. And yes, it is slightly tail heavy, but it's all good. Really, really cool aircraft. I really like this one. Very glad to have it in the fleet. going to be very helpful for the 60 and 70 era, and you'll definitely expect this. We're probably not going to make it to this era for quite some time, so don't be alarmed if this aircraft isn't used for probably 5 years or so. It's going to be quite some time before we get there, hopefully within the next few years, but it's definitely going to take some time because we got to work all the way back, and this aircraft definitely will not make an appearance till the late 70s at the very earliest, but expect it more in the early 70s to late 60s. So really cool aircraft right here. Very glad to have it, and what a unique one right here for Frontier and the Convair and the collection. And the cliffhanger has finally ended right here from Massive Unboxing 21. We finally have the American Airlines Lockheed L188 Electra. Very excited to finally get this out. If you guys don't know, I got this with some other models from that release that Gemini did in like the May 2022 set. And I chose to keep it for this video because it really fits the theme. And we are now cranking it back once again to the 60s and 70s, just like that Convair. A very similar aircraft and a pretty similar situation. So American Airlines flew these to Tulsa a little bit, not all the time, but it kind of was the equivalent of what the Embraer 145 would be today. It's kind of what American used the Electra for at Tulsa. Really excited to have this one, and if this goes really well, maybe I'll choose to get the Eastern one because I really like what the Eastern model turned out to be. But really glad that Gemini is releasing all these retro planes once again. Like I said, the Frontier, Convair, the American Airlines Electra, and all of these. The TWA 71777, just really cool to get to see this. So American Airlines Electra had a really big history, and it's quite a nice plane. And again, these flew mainly to Dallas as far as I'm aware, but I'm going to have to do some extensive timetable research to find out those applicable answers. But for the moment, we have the Electra, and again, you can definitely expect this in some retro Tulsa updates to come. But let's get started right here with the box. So you got Gemini jets made for collectors by collectors. Here's the CGI. The Electra was a little bit bigger than the Convair. I'm sure this is kind of like what the CRJ versus ERJ rivalry would have been is now compared to that. But yeah, very interesting, really cool. Lockheed L188 Electra. I'll mainly refer to it as the Electra because that's the main name I mainly know it as. You got the new American logo. That's kind of debatable. I wish they kind of would have put the Jack flagship on there, which delivery this is in too, but hey, it's all good. The box looking really nice right here, and then here is the back of the box as well. 2022 release with the American Airlines licensing. Here's the top, and there is the Electra itself, looking very clean. Let's get this out of the box and see what American Airlines Electra was all about. Let's take a look. Yeah, looking very clean right here. This is very nice. Let's see if we can get into the top, and yeah, there we go, very nice. And of course, 4 propellers. These probably seated closer to 50 would be my guess, but yes sir, there we go, very clean. And ladies and gentlemen, here's the Gemini Jets 1:1 scale American Airlines Lockheed L188 Electra in the jet flagship livery. What a cool aircraft this is. Was just talking about Silver One a few moments ago and talking about a full aluminum fuselage. We did this with the 757, and I don't think I have any other aircraft, so I believe this is only my second jet flagship aircraft in general, I should say. 727 was the Astrojet. But really glad to have this aircraft. This is a very cool one, and talk about building on the fleet. Going to be a very helpful asset, and it's really weird because most of the American planes I already have, but I still have a couple to go, especially in that 70s era. I really want a 727 right now, but nevertheless, or Chrome 727 to be particular, but nevertheless, all that talk aside, let's get started with this Electra right here. This is looking very clean. Alrighty, so you have the very unique shape of the cockpit windows right here, and that kind of that heat piece again, looking very nice. Really cool nose cone, very unique. Don't quite see anything like this, so very cool right there. You got the nose landing gear. The door is really big, which is really interesting, but nose landing gear also looking good. Good job by Gemini there. And then of course you got the stripe that starts right here all the way at the very front and then screeches across right there. Then you got the first couple windows, and just take a look at that reflection right there. That is crazy. 3 windows takes you into the L1 boarding door right here. Then you got the American Airlines billboard titles. Again, I don't know how they did configurations on these aircraft, but I would assume mainly economy on these. Really cool. And then of course you got the door right here, like I said, and then the windows taken in there. Then you got the propellers as well. Very nice cowling piece right there, and I really like the propeller blades. Again, looks very similar to the Convair, just a little bit higher up, so I don't know if that's proportional. It seems like they're a little bit smaller actually, which is interesting. So if anybody knows, feel free to let me know, but that would logically make sense because you got 4 engines here instead of 2. So don't know the complete details, but what an age in aviation, man. This is so cool. And as you guys can see, the wings are really coolly designed. As you guys can see, it's kind of like backwards of what a typical wing would be today, because the leading, or the curve edge would kind of be at the front, if you will, but instead it's on the back on the Electra, which is quite cool. So very nice detail right there, and there are the engines as well. In the bottom right there, you can see the landing gear, how far down those come. That's really neat. Take a look at that. Very neat right there. That's very cool. And the Electra sits pretty low to the ground, so very nice right there. And then you got the windows right there. Then you got the L2 door right there. I'm assuming they're calling that. Yeah, and then the L3 at the very back right there, kind of hidden back there, but looking really nice. And a few more windows, and some very close to each other right there to finish that out. Or is that like a luggage door? No, I don't think there's a door back there. It was like one of the streaks of the scratch kind of showed that. So again, sorry about that, but looking very nice. And as you guys can see right here, get the American Airlines logo right there. Just so cool, man. What an aircraft this is. And this will be very helpful for the retro American Airlines fleet, Tulsa Model Airport, and every other project. And maybe like a really retro Dallas one day. And definitely hope to get more of these soon. The registration on this aircraft is November 6118 Alpha. Like in the Alaska 727 may have had that tail number or something. Very interesting, but really cool right there. And it very well could have. Yeah, it just looked fairly similar. Here's the top of the aircraft, very detailed right there, really nice on the engines and all. And then at the bottom, you got the Gemini Jets logo, stand hole, and all those fun items. Very cool model right here. Gemini Jets did an outstanding job, and I'm very glad to have my very first Electra for American. Very helpful, and I'm really excited. May have to get the Eastern one too. That seems really cool. Very nice. Alrighty, we're gonna crank it back to some closer to modern stuff. This model is gonna be from the 2000s. Really excited to have this one. This is a very critical asset, these next two particularly, and this really is gonna complete a fleet very nicely for the time. Now I did open it just to confirm that it was in here, so I was very excited. But as you guys can see right here, we have the Gemini Jets 1:400 scale Delta Connection and Bombardier CRJ200 in the colors and motion livery for Sky West. And here's the Gemini Jets 1:400 scale Delta Connection Bombardier CRJ200 in the colors and motion livery. Very excited to have this aircraft, as this was a huge part of Tulsa, as they flew these all throughout the 2000s to all their non-Atlanta destinations, and even Atlanta too. So you're gonna find these flying to cities such as Salt Lake City, Cincinnati, let's see here, Salt Lake City, Cincinnati. I think there was one other that I'm forgetting. I know they flew these to Orlando on a seasonal service for a brief time too, which was so cool. But I thought there was one more city they flew these to. It may just be slipping my mind right now because I'm trying not to get them confused with Northwest. Yeah, I think it was just mainly those. So very excited for this aircraft. It's going to be very helpful. These flew in all the time, especially from Salt Lake City and Cincinnati. So really excited to have this, and let's get into it. Gemini Jets Delta Connection titles right here. At the CGI Bombardier CRJ200 made for collectors by collectors in the 1:400 scale diecast model aircraft. Really cool to see the what was it on there? The white top of the box. That was really cool. But as you can see, more standardized throughout here. Really unique placement there on the items and everything. That was really cool. Here's the back of the box. This is a 2007 release. Now, Gemini, I did have this model for the 3,000 subscriber giveaway, which was last year, so that was really cool. But definitely in need of it again, because now we are doing retro Tulsa. So here's the top of the box as well, looking very nice. And here's the bottom as well, with another very faded tent or cradle there. So, but yeah, Cincinnati and Salt Lake City were the big ones for this, but they also flew these to Orlando for a time, and I think there may have been one other, but these were definitely in Tulsa about 8 times a day, which were very impressive. And I'm looking to get probably one more. Well, I thought about that, but the next aircraft actually kind of contradicts what I was saying. So, but I'll explain that, because I was initially anticipating on getting 2 of these, but one will be very sufficient. Glad to have it back. So cool to finally have it back, and it looks so nice. Let's take a look at this. And just like she never left, we had the Delta Connection Bombardier CRJ-200 with the SkyWest operated titles. Really excited to have this. Again, huge part, especially for Cincinnati and Salt Lake City, despite it being Convair on the back half, but it's all good. I may try to get another CRJ-2 with the Convair house livery or something, but this will be very applicable in the next model too. So let's dive into the details. Alrighty, so you got the cockpit windows right here, the nose landing gear, pretty similar to what we have in the modern day age for CRJ-200s, but still looking really good. Got the SkyWest titles right there and the L1 boarding door, which is looking really cool. Got the Delta Connection titles right here, pretty tight, but I think that's how it was, so you can't complain. And again, just 50 seats on these, nothing's changed. It's just that this is what they started operating quite a lot. Got the emergency exit pad right there in the leading edge of the winglet there with the slaps in the flats and the speed brakes. There's the winglet, really nice right there. They also got the red tip on there, which is really cool, so you love to see that, and a really nice touch right there. And then you got the engines like this GC or CG, something like that, 34s or something like that. Then you got the luggage loader door right there. Registration November 4575 whiskey, I think it's something like that, or SW, something like that. And then you got the tail right here with the light blue, the blue, and the red, dark blue, I should say. Just such a cool aircraft. Really glad to have this one back in the collection. It's going to be very helpful again. And there will be an additional aircraft to go along with this that will really put the Delta fleet in a very good place. Very glad to have this, and this is a really cool aircraft right here. And here is the top of the aircraft and the bottom as well, with the Gemini Jets logo and all that fun stuff. But yes, they flew these from pretty much like the 2000 range dead on all the way up until 2000, or They flew them really consistently till they merged with Northwest, and that's when they moved over mainly to the CRJ-900 variant for a lot of their flights. But they did hit or miss fly these Delta did all the way up until like 2016. So very cool aircraft right there, but we have a very nice additional one to go along with it. Alrighty, so our next one is another Delta Connection aircraft. I was very on the fence about this, but I'll talk about it once we get it out. So let's just pop this thing out right here, right now. And as you guys can see, we have the Gemini Jets 1-4 scale Delta Connection Bombardier CRJ-700 this time in the silver, or it's like silver and soaring livery. That's what it's called. There we go. Very nice. But of course, in the Colors in Motion livery. Very excited to have this aircraft, and this is going to be a very helpful asset. So I was really on the fence about this because this was kind of a hit or miss plane at Tulsa. It was very consistent from about the 2008 range all the way up until 2012 when they fully repainted the Colors in Motion aircraft. But this also had a really nice, really nice run. It once the 737-200 retired from 2005 on the Atlanta service, and it also came in hit or miss throughout 2006 to 2009. Now, I was initially anticipating getting another CRJ-200 because that was more common, but I did decide to go with the CRJ-700 because first off, I got a really good deal on it. It was like $40. Second off, it provides some really nice variety to go along with that CRJ-200, and if I really want to make it really realistic, I could get another CRJ-200, but this will be really sufficient as this was very accurate for the time, and it wasn't uncommon nor not normal for these to either substitute in or also be scheduled every few months on Salt Lake City, Cincinnati, or not really Cincinnati, but Salt Lake City and Atlanta were the big two for these back. So you'll find these, we'll probably have this, I probably will not get another CRJ-200, so expect this mainly to go along with the CRJ-200, despite it mainly being CRJ-2s. We'll still make it very accurate here, and it's really cool to have this, as these, especially for the earlier updates that we're going to see in the Retro Tulsa project, will be very applicable, and also going forward too. But I might get another one if I find a good deal, but nevertheless, really glad to have this, and this will be awesome. So you got the Gemini Jets logo right here, you got the Delta right across, just OG vibes all over it. Delta Connection, got the CRJ-700 CGI, and then silver and soaring. There's multiple pictures of this aircraft at Tulsa on jet photos, which were so cool on airliners.net, and they look really cool in the snow, and it was some really good lighting. That was awesome. Really strong spotting community at Tulsa all the way back then, which is so cool. Bombardier CRJ-700 made for collectors by collectors, and again, this is going to be a really nice compliment to the CRJ-200, just in terms of variety and just getting the all the planes in there. It'll be really cool. 2007 release right here on this one, as well as the livery was really starting to go. Right there is outdated. Here is the top of it, and man, that is looking very clean. Something about the CRJ-700, I don't know why, but it just seems to be one of my favorite aircraft, so very nice. So we do have one of the do not push down papers. If you've never seen one before, I might as well bring it out so you can see what it looks like. Don't push down hard, really cool. And yeah, don't push down hard on these CRJ-700s and 900s. But let me bring out the aircraft because man, it's just such a cool one. Very nice right here. Throwing it back. I know it's off the screen a little bit, but I was getting ready to put that back in. So let's put this back over here, and yes, very clean. And here's the Gemini Jets 1-400 scale Delta Connection Bombardier CRJ-700 with the silver and soaring titles by Endeavor Air. What a cool aircraft, or I guess it's ASA, but it has the EV, so never mind. But nevertheless, really applicable aircraft. This is going to be very helpful for the Tulsa Model Airport, and man, really glad to have this. Just such an aesthetically pleasing airplane too, with just delivery in general. So very glad that we chose to get this. What a cool aircraft, and this is going to be absolutely awesome. Let's dive into the details. So beginning up here at the front, you got the cockpit windows right here, and you got some pitot tubes and all those fun icons, along with the nose landing gear, very nicely detailed, in the ASA title. So ASA was a big subsidiary for quite some time. They unfortunately went out in like 2010 probably or so. Could be wrong on that, but somewhere in there I believe. Got the L1 boarding door right here, and the Delta Connection titles, and then the silver and soaring titles right here. Really cool. I could remove that if I want to, but I think it looks fine, so I really like it there, so we'll leave it looking really good. And of course you got the full, maybe a couple first class seats on these, I would think. Then you got mainly economy throughout here. You got the emergency exit right there with the pad as well. Some slaps and flats and all those fun items. The main landing gear is also looking good, along with the nose landing gear, the hole right there for the stand. That's what I was getting at. And then the winglet looks so cool on the 700. You can actually get the little bit of light blue in there, which looks very nice. Or actually, I think it may just be the bottom part of the winglet, but it looks really good with the red on there. And then there's the inside too, just so aesthetically pleasing. There's the baggage litter door, and again, there's the CG or GE 34s, whatever they are at this point. And then you got the November 740 Echo Victor, and then just the beautiful light blue, dark blue, and red. That is our fourth Colors in Motion aircraft of the video. So the Delta fleet is probably complete now. I mean, I could get another 200, but this is very applicable. Just take a look. This is such an aesthetically pleasing plane. And while I could have got another 200 for the variety reason, this will be a very nice aircraft to go along with the 737 and the CRJ-2. What a stunning aircraft this is. Really nice one right here. And to go along with that, what I was going to get after is these mainly flew from the time they were delivered. Like I said, they took over briefly on the Atlantic service before that moved over to the CRJ-200s mainly quite a bit for the late 2000s, along with some other aircraft. And then they came back really strong in like 2008, operate up until 2012 when they repainted these. And these have still been coming in every now and then from Salt Lake City, but for the most part, these came in from Minneapolis and Detroit quite a bit in the current colors. So expect that in the Retro Tulsa updates as well. But ultimately, what a cool aircraft, so aesthetically pleasing, and I'm really glad to have this right here by Gemini Jets. But yes, very nice one. Sorry about that, but what a cool aircraft. So glad to have this, and we have even more to go into, so let's get into the next ones. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I know what this one is. I could be wrong because I got so many of these at once and I kind of can't remember all of them, but I'm pretty sure I know which one this one is. If it is that one, this one also wasn't a must on the list, but this one was very helpful as it came in quite a lot in this livery. I could have found workarounds because I have another aircraft that definitely would have been applicable for this time frame. If I think I know what it is, let's take a look here before I start talking too much. And that aircraft being the United Express Bombardier CRJ-200, Canadian Air CRJ-200 that is, in the blue tulip livery. So these came in Tulsa quite a bit. I was referencing the CRJ-700 blue tulip was the one I was trying to get at because I could definitely get away with that. But also for United, I had the Battleship Gray, the blue tulip A320, some different ones too. So United before the merger was really hit or miss. They had Denver and Chicago, and they mainly flew the CRJ-700 quite a lot. Along with that, they flew some mainline in Denver too, but for the most part, it was just the 320, 319, 737, pretty much everything I've had. But they also flew the CRJ-200 a lot to Chicago, and while the 700 would have been more than plentiful, they did fly the 200 quite a bit, and I could definitely use this all the way up until past the merger because they flew these all the way up to like 2014. So this will be a very helpful asset. I'm very glad to have this, and it'll be really good. So let's get into the details. It'll be another really cool plane for the fleet. I did get to see a couple of these in real life too, so Special Aircraft got another very good deal on it, and I'm glad to have it. So let's take a look. Gemini Jets, United Express right here. You got the CRJ, kind of like that Delta box, but just the blue background now, which is kind of cool. Canadian Air CRJ-200 right there, and all your applicable detail. Now, I'm thinking this was an Air Wisconsin aircraft, but I could be wrong on that. Again, all the sides of the box. I like the red Canadian Air logo to it. It looks really cool. Very nostalgic for Gemini, of course, because that's just what they're all about. And this is a 2005 release, so really early on in the process here. But the blue tulip livery was definitely established at that point, so really nice. And the blue tulip livery is a really cool one. I'm glad to have more aircraft. So now we got the 757, 320, CRJ-2, CRJ-7, and Ember 170. So really nice. Here is the aircraft itself. Oh, I forgot to show you guys the pamphlet. Sorry. Here's the pamphlet. I really like the light blue background right there too. It's really nice. And the GE CF34s is what I was getting at. And this is AW tail number. So this is delivered in January of 2004. So very nice. 21st particularly. But what I was getting at was, yes, this should be Air Wisconsin aircraft. And yeah, so these are all the way back up until probably 2005 for Tulsa. And the Acer are still flying these to this day, just one livery later. And here is the aircraft itself, looking very clean. And ladies and gentlemen, here's the Gemini Jets 1/1 scale United Airlines Bombardier CRJ-200 in the blue tulip livery, operated by Air Wisconsin. Very applicable aircraft right here. This is going to be an awesome one for the fleet. Just really crazy to think about the recent Air Wisconsin news for American, as they're now going to be getting CRJ-200 back. But what a legacy this had. This is going to be a very applicable asset for about a 10-year period, and I'm really excited to get to use it. So let's dive into the details of this aircraft. Alrighty, so beginning up here on the front, you got the cockpit windows in the nose landing gear door, or nose landing gear in general here, I should say too, which is nice and detailed, looking pretty good. You got the little fleet code right there, I believe that's what that is. Star Alliance logo, L1 bore, and then you got the dark blue, the light blue, and then just into the white. What a cool livery, so nice. And then you got the operated by Air Wisconsin down there too. Air Wisconsin's had a pretty rich history, and they're still going with American now going into the future, so pretty nice right there. L1 boarding door, and then you got the United Express billboard titles with the tulip right there as well. And again, just 50 seats on this aircraft. This is how they do it for the CRJs, and we've had this is the third consecutive one, so sorry, not sorry. And then you got the pad right there, the emergency exit patch, and then of course you got the main landing gear down there too, looking really good. You got the blue winglet as well, and then there's your GE something, I don't even know, you guys know it at this point, but they look really good right there. Luggage door, November 466 Alpha Whiskey in the blue tulip. It actually honestly looks really good on the 200, so really weird now to think I went just from having the blue tulip CRJ or let's go to all previous liveries for the big three. So I went from having just the two American American Eagle CRJ 700s and 200s in old livery, and the Blue Tulip 700s, and now I have the Blue Tulip 200 and both the Delta ones now. So kind of cool to really build on that retro fleet, but they came to also a lot. So, and this aircraft particularly, just like the 700, it wasn't an everyday, well, this is more applicable, but what I was saying was United had a lot more balance between 200 and 700. Delta didn't really, they primarily went with the 200. So, but this will be very helpful. Really glad to have it, and that will be a great asset to say the least. Alrighty, so our next box right here comes from the Funny Airplane Model Store. They've done a really good job, and I've been looking to buy some more aircraft from them, so this is a prime example of that. It's really cool to get to see them at airliners too. They do a really good job, so I would recommend the Funny Airplane Model Store. And this is a cool retro aircraft that they had in stock. So again, very excited for this one, and this will be really cool. And I will say that we have two 727s left, so if you've been paying attention throughout the video, following along, you may be able to understand what I'm referencing at this point, what aircraft this is. So very excited to have this in here, and this will be really good. Also, by the way, I did have a few more aircraft on the way for this video, but unfortunately I went to the post office today. It is a Sunday, and they gave me one of the yellow slips, which means it's not in the parcel locker, it's behind the doors, and that's probably because I've been at college and they probably took it all out of the lockers and put it all in a group for me. So that sucks because there was some really cool aircraft. 3 727s. But anyways, moving on from that, let's get into this because we got a really cool aircraft here, and I'm excited to get into it. And that aircraft is, with plenty of newspaper, a fairly recent Gemini release. Well, not fairly recent, but a 2019 Gemini release. So kind of recent, kind of not. But we have the United Airlines Boeing 737-300 in the Saul Bass livery. So really excited to finally get my very first Saul Bass aircraft. It's going to be a very helpful resource. And yeah, these were very critical at Tulsa for an extended period of time. These were not the heavy favorite, if you will, as we mainly got the 737-200 in the 727 for United, but we also got a few of the 737-300s. And I thought this would be applicable, especially if, so there is a 737-200 that Aero Classics did that I could get in the Saul Bass, and there's also a couple of 727s for United that I've been looking at very heavily to get. So I haven't decided which ones I want to go for yet, but I thought the 300 was a really good deal. Ended up making a little bit of a trade with them, so I got some discount on this aircraft. So it ended up working well. So again, appreciate the flexibility, Funny Airplane Model Store. Feel free to go check them out too. Right, here is the box. Got Gemini jets made for collectors by collectors. Here's the aircraft for here, Boeing 737-300 United 1 scale. So again, this aircraft ended up, you got a sticker right there too. This aircraft ended up flying in quite a lot from Denver and Chicago back in the early 90s into the 2000s by the time they repainted the livery. So again, this will be very applicable and definitely will help me in a pinch, especially if I'm not able to get any additional aircraft. There's the 2019 right there as well. There's the top of the box right there, talking about the 737 Classic, and here is the aircraft itself. The model's not the best, I will forewarn you guys. Nose shape and all is not the best aircraft I've ever seen, but it'll still be very helpful for the model airport, and it will be a very nice asset, speaking of which. So let's dive in and take a look. Really nice. I like the Saul Bass livery. That's a really cool livery. United in there too. What can I say? And here's the Gemini Jets 1/1 scale United Airlines Boeing 737-300 in the Saul Bass livery. Really cool model right here. It looks really nice. Again, it's going to be very applicable at Gate 56, which is B6. Very glad to have this aircraft, and this will be a very nice one. So let's dive into the details on it. Alrighty, so here we go. We got the nose cone. And as you guys can see, the shape is not quite amazing to say the least, but what can you do about it? Still pretty good here from Gemini. Can't complain too much. Then you got cockpit windows right here with some panels. Got the nose landing gear door and nose landing gear. Also a little bit tall, but not too bad on this aircraft. Mainly that nose shape that's a little frustrating. You got the L1 boarding door, and then you got the beautiful blue, red, and orange of the Saul Bass. Really cool. I really like it on this livery. Or aircraft looks really nice. Got tulip right here in the United titles, which the font on that's really cool. I really like that. It's really nice. Antenna 1, 2, and 3 also looking really good. You got the CFM56. I think that's what that is, but I actually have a box now, so I might as well check. And to answer all the questions before I get completely roasted for today, those are CFM56 3C1 variants. Man, wow, I was about to get roasted hard in the comments, but actually glad that that is correct. But a really nice engine right there. They're very helpful to say the least. So looking good. Then of course you have the leading edge of the wing with the slats, and you get the flaps right there. You got the top of the wing right there, which looks really nice. And the bottom with the main landing gear too, and the antennas. Maybe a little big on the antennas, but still looking pretty good. Better than the recent CRJ iterations, in my opinion. November 327 uniform alpha right here. Again, you probably got a little bit of a first class and then into the economy. L2 door and the beautiful tulip right here as well. So Gemini, really good job on the livery as per usual. There's a really good look at that. Ugh. Not my favorite, but we're going to have to make it work, and it'll be very helpful. So in terms of Saul Bass aircraft for United, I really hope to get a 727, probably a 100 or 200. I'm not exactly sure which one because the 100 was a little bit more common, but I like the 200 more. In terms of the 737-200, that'll also be very applicable aircraft. So I may end up go buy those after this just because we need to continue to grind on the retro Tulsa assets. But this was also common, probably more from Denver, but they probably flew this to Chicago a little bit as well. So again, this will be a player from probably just when they got it, so probably the 90s all the way up until they repainted these. So probably about 3 or 4 updates we'll see this in. It'll be a very helpful asset, and it'll be a really good one to have. So good job right here by Gemini, and glad to have the Sawbass 737-300. Alrighty, next up the bat, we're going to be throwing it back a little bit farther back than what we just threw it. This will be taking us back probably to about the early 70s into the mid 80s is this aircraft's time frame. This will be a very helpful one, so I will forewarn you guys that this was a recent release from Aero Classics. Thank you, Jet Collector, for all your great work as per usual. But I'm very excited for this aircraft, as this will be only my second aircraft for this airline, which I'm very excited about, and we just unboxed the first one earlier. And ladies and gentlemen, right here, as you guys can see, we have the Aero Classics 1:1 scale Continental Airlines Boeing 727-200 in the contrails livery. Very excited to have this one. This is a really cool aircraft, and these were big time workhorses at Tulsa, so I'm really glad to finally have one of these. These will be very applicable to go along with probably some 737s and maybe a DC-9 or 2. We'll see what I'm able to get my hands on, but really excited to have this, and let's get into it. So recent release from Aero Classics. This was the August release, I think, so very glad to have this. I really thought about that Eastern Electra or Eastern 727-100, but I really need a Pan Am one, so I'll just save my money for hopefully a Pan Am 727-100. But for now, we got the Continental. So Aero Classics right here, pretty simple box for them. The bottom has your, okay, I thought the bottom did, but the right side has your sticker for the Continental right here. This is the smaller titles one. I wanted the big title one, but the smaller title seemed a little bit more common in retrospective, so I decided to get this one, and this will be very helpful for the Tulsa Model Airport. Flew these a bunch to Houston, I think, or let's see, for Continental, Chicago and Denver a little bit too, I believe. I think it was mainly Houston though. So no, they were never in Chicago, I don't think. Maybe it was Denver for these. I'm pretty sure it was Denver and Houston. But nevertheless, there she is right there. This is only like my 4th 727. I don't have many of them, but we'll finish this video out with 727s, despite there's still 3 on the way that are at the post office right now that I can't get my hands on yet. But nevertheless, we'll save that for a future video. But there she is. Aero Classics actually doing work. My goodness, can't believe it. And here's the Aero Classics 1:1 scale Continental Airlines Boeing 727-200 in the contrail red livery, to be particular. Very big asset right here. Really excited to have these. This flew all the way from I think like the 1960s or late 60s, early 70s, all the way up until the late 80s before these got repainted into the contrails. Excuse me, Contrails Blacks was the first one, then they repainted them in the red. My bad, I'm super sorry about that. So this livery particularly, if you know the difference, the Contrail Black livery has the black on here. This is the red one. These were from like the late 70s until the 80s, or sorry, yeah, until the late 80s when they finally repainted these into the final livery for the ones that made it to that era. As of for these aircraft particularly, I may end up substituting this one for a black one if I can't find it, but nevertheless, this will be very helpful for the Tulsa, as once again, tons of flights to Houston and Denver. This will be a really nice aircraft and a really cool one to finally throw it back. So you guys also may be noticing that I'm getting a ton of aircraft for the later parts too that I'm not quite ready for, and that's mainly just because I want to take the advantage now, so when we get there I'm already ready for it. So we'll talk about that more in detail here in a moment, but nevertheless, let's get started with the assessment. Alrighty, so beginning right here, you have the nose cone right here in the beautiful livery. Again, not too familiar with this livery, but it seems really cool, from the orange to the red to the gold. Just really, really cool. This is very nice. You have the nose landing gear door and nose landing gear. This is my first Aero Classic 727, and first impressions are pretty good. Not too bad at all. L1 boarding door, and then you got the Continental titles. Again, this is the smaller one. They also made an iteration with them, like from here to here, just big, and no logo right there either, just big Continental titles. That's the one that I really would have liked, but this one's still going to be very sufficient. And again, whatever the airline did, I was willing to follow it, so we'll take it. And then of course you got some first class through here, and then you got some economy in the back right there as well. And then you got the emergency exits right there as well, very applicable. And man, 727 is such a cool aircraft. I'm really excited for the upcoming ones. Just spoiler, you deserve to know if you made it this far. I got a TWA 727-100 in the previous livery, a United 727-200 in the Battleship Gray livery, and a what was a Braniff 727 in the blue livery. So very excited for all those. Those will be very helpful. Here's the emergency exit pads, the leading edge of the wing set, your flaps and slats, and the speed brakes on top too. Then down here you got some tires. I hope they don't fall off, but they're looking good for the main landing gear. And then of course you got the registration, which is November 79749. Very nice. You got the L2 door back there as well, and then you got the 3 engines. Really cool design right there. It's super nice on the Boeing 727. And couldn't have asked for much better lighting on the gold part right here for the tail in the Contrail red livery, of course. They also had the Contrail black like I was referencing, so very applicable. And there's the luggage door right there, the first one, and then the second one too. And third, here's the top of the aircraft, which looks very nice, really good job. And then the bottom also looking really cool with the silver metallic down there too. Ultimately, a really nice aircraft. You'll be seeing this in a lot of updates, especially on the back half of the retro Tulsa Model Airport project, unless I'm finally able to go back to like the 50s and all that. But in terms of the full project, expect this starting to make its debut in the late 80s. So very exciting right there, and a really nice piece right there. And here's our final package of the video. And no, these are not Hot Wheel cars. This will be another Boeing 727, and I won't give it away. I'll just let you guys find out if you guys saw the thumbnail. Maybe you know. But nevertheless, really excited for this aircraft. This will be a very cool one, and this is my first for this airline. They had a huge presence at Tulsa, mainly through the 70s and 80s, but they were a big airline. I'm really excited to see this aircraft. Again, first one of this era, and just really excited for this. So there it is right there. No spoiler alerts to be had or any of that Mickey Mouse. We have the Braniff Boeing. Okay, well, I thought we had the Braniff. Let's try this again. There we go. We have the Braniff International Boeing 727-200 in the red livery by Gemini Jets. Very excited to have this aircraft. I did just buy the blue one by JetX to complement this, so I'll probably end up getting one more aircraft, and I'll probably do it. They listed some 727-100, so maybe I'll get one of those too, because those are very prominent, but I really like to look at the 200. But very excited to finally have my very first Braniff aircraft. As you guys know, Braniff was a huge airline, really based out of Dallas. It was really cool to see them, Delta, and American go after it for such a long time, but unfortunately Braniff 1 made it till 1982, had to cease operations due to a variety of reasons, and then they had a restart-up airline. That one also failed, again, due to a variety of reasons. But let's take a look at this aircraft. This is a really cool one, and another very cool model by Gemini. Really excited for this. So let's finish this out strong. Got that cinematic design once again, Braniff International CGI, Boeing 727-200 with the border once again, BI, historic retro jet liveries. You know what I'm talking about. Gemini Jets made for collectors by collectors. You got the 727 trademark and all those fun details. So Braniff flew to a variety of destinations. Braniff 1, that is. Braniff 2, I don't think ever flew to Tulsa. I'm gonna have to do some research on that. But in terms of Braniff 1, especially in the 70s, registration, by the way, is November 441 Bravo November. They flew these all the time, mainly to Dallas, but they also flew them to, and here's the back of the box as well, 2001 release. And let's get the pamphlet and everything really quick here. Here's the top, and there she is right there. Loving the red. I complimented what color I wanted to get. He had the green, yellow, green, orange, blue, and red. And I decided to go for the red because the price was the best and it looks really clean. But what I was getting into as I'm opening this is Braniff has Dallas, but they also had Houston, Washington, Dulles, Kansas City, St. Louis was really strong for a long time. They may have had one out on the West Coast. I don't think it was San Jose. I'm trying to think of what it was, but it was a very interesting attack. I don't know what I would compare Braniff to in today's society, but what I will compare it to is having this really cool aircraft right here. Very nice. So again, you'll be finding this right there with that Continental a little bit before, or a little bit more time in, and then you'll be finding Braniff, as they were a very cool airline to say the least. And here it is. And ladies and gentlemen, here's the Braniff International Boeing 727-200 in the red livery. What a stunning aircraft this is. Super glad to get my hands on this aircraft. And this is just a really cool aircraft in general. What a beautiful livery, and just what a cool piece of aviation history, especially knowing that Braniff International was founded in Tulsa back in 1925. So just a really special piece and quite an awesome way to finish out this video if you ask me. So let's take a look at this aircraft in its full glory. Alrighty, so as you guys can see right here, we have the cockpit windows right here, which look really nice, and then the really cool Braniff livery. On top, you have the color designated for the livery. So in this case, we have the red, and then on the bottom, you have the orange. Just a really cool, unique piece of Braniff history. That's awesome. Really neat mesh right there, looking nice. Nose landing gear door, a little bit of scrub up there on the tire, but looking fine. This is my first Gemini 727. I really like it. This is really nice. Or, sorry, I have the Colleague. Never mind, but first passenger 727, I guess, and this one's really cool. L1 boarding door, and then you got the U.S. flag right here, the Braniff International titles. Just take a look at how cool that looks, man. That is awesome. And expect more Braniff models to come too, because they had a really heavy presence at the Tulsa International Airport. Got a little bit of first class here, I believe. Could be wrong on that. They may have all economy, who knows. But got a little bit there, and then the full lineup throughout there. We're looking very clean. And of course, you got the emergency exits as well. And then you got the pads right there too, looking really good. Just really, really nice detail. And then you got the landing gear, which are also very far down, just like the Aero Classics model we just assessed. And here's the wing as well, also in very good detail with the leading edge, with the flaps and slats, and the speed brakes as well. Not very well detailed, but again, really good job for 2001. Debatably better than what they have compared to now. November 441 Bravo November in the L2 door as well. And then of course this was the flying colors livery, as they had all the colors, and this was one of them, the red, which looks really nice. Lastly, you got the BI on the tail with the orange, and then just the beautiful horizontal stabilizers, the APU, the engines, all that fun detail as well. On this side you got the baggage loaders too, and just a really good look at the nose and all those fun details, and Boeing 727 on that side, the engine too. And then here is the top of the aircraft, which looks really nice, and the bottom as well with the Gemini logo. We're looking really nice and very clean. Ultimately, a really cool model. Super glad to have this, and a really, really nice one from Gemini. So what I'll do now is line up all the aircraft because we're running out of lights, so I want to get a really nice shot of those, and we'll assess all these in detail and kind of talk about Retro Tulsa more, and some more of the retro models that are on the way. But what an unboxing, very unique, and really glad we were able to do this. So let's get this going, boys. Alrighty everybody, so that will do it for Massive Unboxing 22. Let's just take a look at all these retro models, and it was so cool to get to do something different like this. I don't know if we'll do another retro Massive Unboxing in the future. If you guys want to, please let me know and I'll start accumulating, but let's just take a look at some of these because, man, wow, this was so cool. I'm sure we will too, even if we just start buying different retro planes. But we got the United CRJ200 in the blue tulip livery, the Delta CRJ200 in the colors in motion, Delta CRJ700 in the colors in motion, the American Airlines Electra, the Frontier Convair, there we go, Delta 737-800 colors in motion, United 737-300 in the shuttle livery, United Solbass 737-300, Continental 737-500, Delta 737-200, TWA DC-9 final livery, South Airlines 737-300 Desert, South Airlines 737-300 Silver, that is, Continental Boeing 727-200 Contrails Red, and lastly, speaking of red, got the Braniff International Flying Colors Boeing 727-200 to finish her out in the the red color flying colors livery. Gosh, I can't talk today, but how about that? Wow. Really, really cool to get to enhance this fleet, and this is just a huge step for Retro Tulsa. A lot of these aircraft very applicable. I'll just do a little count here of the 2,000 aircraft. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9. Okay, so about 9 of these 15 aircraft are for the more 2000s era, and even dating back to that, and then some of them obviously universal. I try to be as efficient and effective as with buying as possible. I would argue probably the most limited aircraft in terms of time is probably the Delta CRJ 700. Just looking around here to see if there's any others. Yeah, that's definitely the biggest one, and everything else at least has like a 10-year era to where it can be used, which is very exciting. I'm really pleased with that. So just ultimately a really cool, very unique experience. I hope you guys enjoyed this, especially my retro viewers that have been hungry for something retro. I really hope this fulfilled your guys' desire, and the Retro Model Airport Tulsa project is on the way. Expecting an announcement soon, and hopefully we'll be diving into our first update possibly by the end of the year or so. So really excited for this. I hope you guys are as well, and I say the end of the year because there's a really big history segment video that I need to do before I can do the actual updates. You guys will see why it'll all correlate together, and really excited for it, and I hope you guys are too, because man, what a project this is. Like I said, more assets are coming like I mentioned previously, and there should be some additional airplanes on the way too. Like I said, got a couple on the wish list I hope to buy too, and just a bunch of really fun ones. So I hope you guys are excited for that. It's going to be a blast, and I'm so excited for what's to come. I hope you guys are too, and that will do it for Massive Unboxing 22. So I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed it. What a fun video this was, and I'm really excited for what's to come, and I hope you guys are as well. So with all that being said, that will do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. My name is Redriveraviation. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe. Trust the process. Do what you love and love what you do. My name is Redriveraviation. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon, as Redriveraviation is signing off.